Welcome to the deep dive. We're jumping right into the core ideas from the materials you've shared, skipping the filler to get straight to the useful stuff. Today, we're looking at something, well, it sounds almost magical at first glance, but the source material we're using insists it's actually a reliable science. It claims that getting rich is an exact science, like algebra or arithmetic, and that failure is literally impossible if you follow the rules. That's quite a statement.
It is a huge promise, absolutely. And our goal today is really to cut past the dense philosophy and give you the practical how-to. If you want results, this science says you need the conclusions first.
Right. So we're zeroing in on the two big requirements. You have to learn to think in a specific way, and you have to learn to do things in a specific way. And we're starting with the thinking part, because the text is pretty clear. Your actions don't really work if your thoughts aren't properly aligned first.
Exactly. And probably the biggest concept you, the listener, have to grapple with right off the bat is the foundation, this monistic theory of the universe.
Okay, monistic theory. That sounds a bit academic. Can you break that down? What does it mean in simple terms, this formless substance idea?
Yeah, okay, think of it like this. Instead of seeing the universe as just a collection of separate dead objects, imagine it's more like a vast, intelligent ocean of potential, of thought, really. Everything you see, everything that exists, stars, trees, ideas, it all comes from the single original thinking formless substance.
Yeah.
It's the basic stuff of reality. And the absolute key is that it thinks. It's intelligent, it's creative.
Okay, so the universe itself is kind of aware and responsive. How does our own thinking fit into that picture?
Well, that's the core mechanism thought creates. When this universal substance thinks of a form, say a tree, it starts the process to actually make that tree appear. And we as individuals are like focus centers within this substance. We can originate our own specific thoughts. When we hold an idea clearly with belief and sort of impress it upon this formless substance, we literally cause the creation of the thing we're thinking about.
Right, okay, that's the pivot point then. If the supply is infinite and the universe responds to thought, then thinking there isn't enough to go around is the biggest mistake. You have to completely ditch what the source calls the competitive mindset.
That's step one, and it's non-negotiable according to this framework. Competitive thinking is, worrying about limited resources, fighting others for a piece of the pie, feeling like you have to beat the system or take from someone else. When you think that way, that you have to compete or struggle, you're essentially denying the basic principle of infinite supply, and your creative power just vanishes.
But hang on, isn't most business, most professional life built on competition? I mean, if I want a promotion, don't I have to be better than the next person?
That's the conventional view, yes. But this science argues for a different approach entirely. The goal isn't to beat someone else in a limited game. It's to become a creator in an infinite field. The creative way ensures that when you get what you want, the process itself generates more for everyone involved. It's not zero-sum. Everyone benefits. That's the ethical test, really.
Okay, which leads to something important the text warns about. What if I, as a listener, am constantly worried about, say, big corporations squeezing out the little guy, or complaining about how wealth is distributed unfairly? What happens then?
The source is very direct about this. The moment you start focusing on fighting the system or criticizing powerful entities or trying to legislate against them, you immediately drop back into that competitive mindset. That kind of thinking stops the creative process you might have started. Your focus has to stay purely on creating your own supply from that infinite source.
So the foundation is this creative monistic belief system. Now, what keeps that connection strong? The text puts a huge emphasis on one thing: gratitude. It calls it the catalyst.
Yes, and gratitude here isn't just a pleasant feeling. It's described as an active force. It operates under what's called the law of gratitude, which is presented as a natural principle, almost like physics.
A natural principle. How does being thankful become a scientific force? Explain that for us.
Okay, so the action is your mind reaching out, genuinely thankful. That mental act is described as a liberation of force, like releasing energy. That energy immediately connects with the formless intelligence. And the reaction to that released force is an instantaneous movement of the desired things towards you. Think of it as the strongest form of traction. If your gratitude is weak or intermittent, the flow of supply towards you is slow. If it's deep, constant, and strong, the flow is strong and continuous.
So it's not just about saying thank you rituals, it's about maintaining a constant mental attitude of thankfulness, because that's what keeps the channel open and the supply moving. And that text says you need 3 core beliefs cemented by this gratitude, right?
That's right. 1, belief in that single intelligent substance. 2, belief that this substance genuinely wants to give you everything you desire. And 3, relating yourself to it through that deep, profound gratitude.
And this feeds directly into faith, doesn't it?
Exactly. The source literally says, faith is born of gratitude. Why? Because the truly grateful mind is always looking for and expecting good things. It's constantly noticing the good that is flowing. And that constant expectation of good, held firmly, becomes the unwavering faith needed for creation.
It also acts like a mental shield, protecting you from negative thinking.
Yes, very much so. The source warns strongly against dwelling on the negative, the poor, the squalid, as it puts it. Because if your mind constantly focuses on lack or limitation, you start to take on the mental form of those things, and you transmit that to the formless, which naturally attracts more of those negative circumstances. Gratitude does the opposite. It forces your attention onto the best, onto what's good and advancing. And by focusing on the best, you ensure you attract and receive the best.
Okay, let's hit the really tricky part here because I know listeners might balk at this. The text says you need to be grateful for everything good. Fine. But then it says this gratitude must extend to things like corporate trusts, monopolies, even politicians. Seriously, why thank a politician?
Yeah, it sounds counterintuitive, I know. Until you grasp the mechanism it's pointing to. You're not thanking them for their specific actions or policies you might disagree with. You're viewing them impersonally as part of the complex system like pipes or wires that currently exists. The source suggests they help arrange the lines of transmission through which wishes can flow. By staying grateful for the function they represent in the overall system, you maintain your harmonious connection with the good in everything, regardless of how it looks on the surface.
So, if my business gets a huge government contract, I shouldn't focus on the red tape or the politics involved. I should just be thankful for the mechanism itself, the channel that brought the increase. Focus on the positive function, not judge the specific players.
Precisely. You avoid wasting any mental energy criticizing or complaining about any entity's shortcomings. That negativity just snaps you right back to the competitive plane and cuts off your creative connection.
Wow. That is a serious challenge to how most of us think. Okay, so we've got the monistic belief, the constant gratitude. Now, how do we translate that mental state into actual results? This involves the formula: vision, faith, and will.
Right. First up is vision. This has to be a clear and definite mental picture, not just a vague wish for more money. You need a precise image of what you want to have or do or become, like an architect's blueprint, really detailed.
And it's not just seeing the picture, is it? You have to hold it with this absolute conviction, this unwavering purpose, believing that the things you want are already yours, or at least on their way right now. It's a mental attitude of ownership.
Yes, you have to mentally inhabit that reality.
Yeah.
Use the things in your imagination. And the ultimate test, the most memorable detail, is being able to sincerely thank God for things you only own in imagination. If you can feel genuine gratitude for something that doesn't physically exist yet, your thought has become truly creative.
Okay, that brings up willpower. We usually think of willpower as pushing against the world, right? Forcing things to happen, pushing other people.
And that's exactly the wrong application, according to this science. Willpower has one, and only one, proper use here. Use it on yourself. Its job is to make you think the right thoughts, hold the vision steadily, and do the required actions. You don't use your will to try and control or coerce others or the market or your boss. That's competitive and counterproductive. You just compel yourself.
Got it. So what kills this whole process? We know doubt is a big one. What else?
Doubt and unbelief are fatal, yes. They literally start a movement away from you and that intelligent substance. But the sources also specifically warn against confusing your mind with conflicting ideas. Diving into spiritualism, the occult, reading a lot of pessimistic philosophy, anything that muddies the water or contradicts the core idea of one responsive creative substance will create mental cross-currents that mess everything up. You have to be really vigilant about what you let into your mind.
Okay, so the mental side of vision, faith, gratitude, discipline, will, that's huge. But the text warns that this is exactly where a lot of people who understand the mental part still fail. Why is that?
Because thought, by itself, only brings the desired thing to you, metaphorically speaking. It draws the opportunity or the resources near. But action is what allows you to actually receive it. If you have this perfect vision of a house filled with faith and gratitude, but you never physically get up, look at listings, talk to agents, arrange financing, the house can't actually become yours. You have to physically connect with the supply.
So what kind of action are we talking about? Is it about working frantically 80 hours a week?
No, not necessarily frantic. It's about efficient action. And there's specific rules for that too. First, Act now, right where you are, in your current job or situation. Don't wait for the perfect opportunity or a change of scenery. Your present environment is the tool you use right now to leverage yourself into the better one.
Okay, act now. What else?
Second, do every single day all that can be done that day. Don't leave things unfinished if they can be completed. The idea is that you can't grow beyond your current role if you're not filling it completely and effectively. It's about total present moment effectiveness.
Makes sense. And the third point.
Third, and this is critical, focus on the efficiency of each separate action, not just the sheer volume of work you do. Think about it. If you're doing a routine task, say, filing a report, are you just going through the motions, mind-wandering, maybe worrying about bills? Or are you doing that filing with your full attention, infusing it with your larger purpose, your vision, your faith? The second way makes even that simple action strong. And that strength, that quality infused into small acts, is what propels you towards the bigger opportunities.
Can you get a really concrete example? Like, say I'm an accountant working on a spreadsheet. How does this thinking in a certain way change that mundane task?
Okay. An inefficient action is maybe rushing the spreadsheet, just ticking boxes, feeling like it's beneath you while worrying about not having enough clients. An efficient action is doing that same spreadsheet, but doing it with a conscious thought. The accuracy and excellence of this specific task is contributing to my overall vision of success and increase. This is a vital step. You're pouring your creative intent into the physical work. That spreadsheet becomes a conduit.
And you have to do this without rushing or worrying.
Exactly. The source says, act without haste, worry, or fear. Hurrying signals a belief in scarcity, that there isn't enough time or opportunity. It throws you back into the competitive mindset, makes you less effective, less creative.
Okay, there's one more crucial rule for action, isn't there? Something about how you deal with others.
Yes, the ethical guideline, or really the law of increase in practice, it states that in every single transaction, you must give the other person more in-use value than you receive from them in cash value.
So if I sell a service for, say, $100, I need to make absolutely sure that the actual benefit, the usefulness they get from my service is worth significantly more than $100 to them.
Precisely. That way, the exchange genuinely creates more life, more value for both parties. It's not just a transfer, it's an expansion. When you consistently operate like that, you become a center of creation, and the universe naturally supports that increase.
And because everyone inherently wants more life, more increase, you have to project that feeling, right? Convey the impression of increase in all your interactions.
Absolutely. Your whole demeanor, how you speak, how you carry yourself, the quality of your work, should all radiate this quiet confidence that you were on the way up, and that interacting with you brings benefit and increase to others too. That quality naturally draws people and opportunities towards you.
So tying it all together, the whole system is presented as almost mathematically certain. If you combine the specific mental state, that monistic belief, the clear vision, unwavering faith, deep gratitude, with this kind of efficient, present-focused action that aims to increase life for everyone, failure becomes impossible.
That's the claim. The riches you receive will be in direct proportion to how clear your vision is, how fixed your purpose, how steady your faith, and how deep your gratitude runs. It's presented as a formula connecting your mind to the universe's creative power through disciplined thought and action.
It definitely requires immense self-discipline, constant mental vigilance.
It does. Total self-management.
Right.
But the promised reward is transforming your current reality into the exact life you've envisioned.
Which leads us to a final thought for you, the listener, to take away and maybe chew on, given that every single action, even the most mundane like organizing your workspace or answering a simple email, needs to be infused with this creative vision to make it strong. What commonplace daily task are you currently doing inefficiently, maybe rushed or distractedly, that if you were to immediately infuse it with your ultimate purpose and gratitude could actually become the crucial first step, the lever that opens the door to that next larger opportunity you're seeking?